Hello, this is Face Down Lesson 18, and we are at least halfway through. This is right about the halfway point of our lessons in the year, and we're already past midpoint, like past New Year's. So it's going to be interesting getting all the rest of these in. But anyway, this week's lesson is submit to church leaders, and really kind of the just to set this up for y'all. The point I wanted to make is I'm not sure that students even realize that there is an obligation or there is an authority that church leaders have. And so I wanted to establish where that authority comes from. And so the way we're going to start this out this week is with the hook. And so kind of the scenario you're going to present to them is that God is leading them to start a church, and you can do this as a class or you can have them do it individually. Either one's acceptable, but God is leading them to start a church in some city. Okay, but obviously in the girls classes they don't necessarily have to be the pastors, but at any rate, what they need to work through is who are the leaders in a church, and what criteria do they have for being installed as leaders in the church. And so they also need to look at kind of what method that is used in the Bible to set those leaders apart. And so you may have to do some digging in the Word, even beyond the scriptures that I've got here for y'all, just so that you can be prepared whenever they ask certain questions about, well, how are leaders set apart, and there's going to probably be a question in some classes about the difference between pastors and elders, and if there is a difference, and all that stuff. And we're going to kind of go over that in a minute. But anyway, that is kind of the hook this week. And I think it can be really something that is beneficial for them, just to see that God has established authority in the church, and that therefore by God establishing that authority, then there is an obligation to at least follow the leaders and be under the authority of the leaders in a church. And it's not just I don't like something, so I'm going to do something else kind of thing. There is a reason that God has put people in there, and that we all have to understand that God has put people in authority in a church, and so therefore even those people are under the authority of God, right? And this is an awkward one for me to even do these videos about, because I am one of the church leaders, and so I don't want it to feel like I'm saying you have to be under my thumb and you have to do exactly as I say, because as we're going to see, that's really not what it's about anyway. It's about serving the church and equipping leaders. But anyway, that's kind of where we're going. I'm not going to really give you any other parameters than that on the hook, but I think this could be something that they could really get into, and you could really have some good debates over. Are there differences between a senior pastor, a youth pastor, a music pastor, a discipleship pastor? Like, are there any differences? Has God called them all to the ministry? Like I said, I'll try to go over some of this with you and give you my views on it as we go through here, but I think it could be some really good talking points for them as well. So that's the hook this week, and so use that as a lead into the scriptures that we're going to go over in the book and look portions.